Hey, it's Djemini. Welcome to episode 2 of the 5225 podcast. I'm here with the second producer of the year, Nick Bernyk. Nick, I'm so hyped on what we've made, and excited to just talk to you about all the songs and recap these masterpieces we made together.
For sure, yeah. I'm excited too, man, because it's a lot of fun sessions.
Yeah.
And we were just watching through them a second ago and kind of reliving the moments, and excited to kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
And get some footage.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I think going with Coronation is a really fun way to kick it off, because that's actually how we had the idea of even working together.
Right.
Because our friend Mo, shout out to Maurice. We love you, Mo. Mo sent me that little 30-second loop that you made.
Yeah.
And the moment he sent it to me, I was just like, ooh, like I gotta do something on this. And so I got up right away, wrote the entire song. Like, I didn't change any lyrics from this song.
Yeah, it was made the final cut.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did. And it was just exactly what I wanted to say in that time. And then that was in May. So it was before we even met, because we met in June.
Right.
And so I wrote that song in May, and then when I met you, I was like, hey man, like that I wrote to that loop, it would be sick. And you're like, yeah, cool. And then we just had a whole summer full of cooking up with Briggsy and the whole gang. And then fast forward to the end of August, that's when we finally got a solo session, just the two of us. And watching that back, well, I mean, it was really cool seeing how like effortless that was, and how that first go of really making a song together came to life. But Coronation was actually the last song that we ended up working on, even though it was the one that kickstarted everything.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that played out.
Yeah.
We got too excited about the new stuff, and then we were like, oh wait, what about that first one?
We got to go back to that one. Yeah.
I remember Mo saying like, oh bro, can you send me this? Because I got a friend, I bet he would be into this kind of sound.
Yeah.
And I remember he messaging me on Instagram, and I was like, oh hell yeah, okay. Like, I thought this beat was pretty cool, but like, this guy wrote a song to it? Yeah. This is awesome. So I'm glad that we finally got around to making the whole thing, and it came out great.
Nah, dude, I'm so happy with it. It is a beautiful way, I think, of starting off Hour 4 as well, because it introduces a lot of different sonics into like our style.
Right.
You know, like a lot of the songs have cool percussion, lots of different shaker things, and all of them are rooted in guitar.
Right.
Because we're both guitar players, it's really cool that even in watching the footage back, how much back and forth there is of you're holding the guitar, you pass it out to me, I play a thing, you grab the bass, I play keys, you play on the push, like all these different cool back and forth moments on like a musician level, which is really fun, that I feel like is less common in like the world that we live in, and a lot of like R&B and hip hop stuff. It's kind of being able to grab samples and loops and other things like that. So to be able to have made all of these like from scratch as guitar players and guys who just love that, I think is a really cool part of our 4 songs as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a cool combination of like typical producing, but mixing it with like the band kind of formula of, you know, jamming on guitars and instruments, and it was like, it's a cool combination of those two worlds kind of.
Yeah, man, like I think we had conversations about that as well, talking about how we both have played in bands and we love that element of it, but we also both love hip hop.
Right.
And so there's elements of like production styles and other things like that I think we wanted to showcase and bring together, you know, allow these two worlds to collide with guys who love those worlds, and who, you know, you and I both make such a variety of music that I think that we didn't even know what to call our genre.
Yeah.
You know, we were like,
we're just making
not quite R&B, it's definitely not hip hop, it's not like rock, it's not. And so what we landed on was alternative R&B.
Oh yeah.
And we love it because I feel like there's a lot of elements of that, like what people would deem as like alternative music in there, and like the style of how we play guitars and all these things. But then there's jazzy elements, there's R&B elements, and then there are, again, hip hop elements that I think is really cool. And so being able to, bring it together and have all that, and even though we buttoned up our recordings with Coronation, that was the thing that led it all. So it only made sense to have that be track 1 of our 4.
Yeah.
So is there
Production.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to like mention specifically with the song? You know, we just listened back to everything. Is there anything that you were like, oh yeah, this is what made it cool? I have a couple things off the top of my head, but anything that you think in like the production side of things or how the track evolved as we worked on it together?
That's what I was gonna say. I like how we evolved it from like the original. I mean, the original beat was just like a 30-second loop, so obviously we had to fix it up a bit. But just like pretty much most of our songs, a lot of the best parts I feel like came from like just being in a moment, and we stumbled upon some kind of magic. And I feel like that really happened with the verses, where it kind of dies down and then we switched up the guitar rhythms.
Yeah.
Funky.
Yeah.
Like as soon as we locked into that groove, we were like, that's it.
Dude, and it was
The song is officially a banger now.
Yes, that was really what was missing, and it was crazy because how well what I wrote fit into that. Like that was not my intention at all to make it that way.
Before it even existed.
Right, and then as soon as we did that, it was like, oh, now exactly what you said. Now the verses can stand out. Now they can have their own life, and then it builds going back into the hook like that. And I think there's something super special about the progression of all of our songs. Right. There's a lot of push and pull. There's a lot of give and take in a world where it's really easy to, do something just like loop it through the entire song.
Right.
And it still be a great song. Like I have songs like that, and there's songs that I love to listen to like that. But I think the arc of each of our songs.
I think that's where playing in bands came in handy too.
Exactly.
That dynamic range of the progressions or like the structure of songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came into play a lot with a lot of those songs, and especially Coronation.
Yeah, man. I think the last thing that I wanted to say on that was just like the grooviness of that guitar, especially on the hook. How punchy that is, or with I guess the pre-chorus, the that stuff is just every time. And then, of course, during the chorus, I make this noise to Nick all the time where I'm That was all.
You gotta bring in the funk sometimes.
Yeah, that was all this maestro over here, man, just going crazy with that part, and literally that's stuck in my head now for eternity.
Yeah, that's
so.
It's funny how the little moments like become your favorite parts.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, that it truly gave the song so much more life. And the last note that I'll say on it is the whole intro voicemail thing is actually the voicemail intro that I cut at my home studio. We kept that.
Yeah.
You remember, like we didn't even
demo of the demo.
Yeah, we didn't even grab the original like stems of the beat. That is just one wave file. So if you listen to the instrumental, it even has that in it. And I was gonna say, I was like, oh, maybe we should change that or whatever. I was like, man, this is part of the instrumental anyway. Like the call is like kind of this cool thing that sets up everything else.
Yeah.
And then bookending the song with that, like what the voicemail is and then what it is like in the future.
Right.
As the end voicemail, I felt like
brings
it
the
was very
storyline full circle.
Yes.
And it's just a cool little Easter egg of like, since this was the first song that we technically made together.
Yeah.
That we kept that initial recording from that first idea spark.
Yeah.
And like we kept it in the song. It's just a cool little extra detail, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Well, right after there, it goes into so far, obviously, lots more people will hear it and give their take, but so far, the crowd favorite of everybody that we've played it for, Lay It Down. That song, it was really fun revisiting that footage. Yeah. Because that was the first song that we made like sitting next to each other and just from scratch, where I just showed up here one night, we planned for a session and it was just like, let's make something.
Yeah, it was like the first session of exploring what
that could even look like.
We're gonna make together.
Yeah, and we were listening to all kinds of influences back and forth. There was a lot of R&B stuff, a lot of Justin Timberlake in rotation, and we had started everything that we made with Briggsy and the gang, everybody always like with guitar or keys or something. And so I was pretty adamant about, let's change that and let's make it like, let's just start with drums.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. It was drums, bass, and then we brought some keys in, played a little bit of guitar, very sparse.
Yeah, chopped
And
it up a lot.
yeah, chopped it up.
We almost like sampled the guitar.
Yeah, pretty much. Where I was just playing a whole bunch of different little licks and different ways to strum the chords, and then we just picked our favorite moments, and then we
Kind of Frankenstein them into a direction we liked.
And we wanted to, it was cool because I forgot this until watching the footage back. We wanted to have 8 distinct guitar moments.
Right.
And then that be the foundation of how the song moves.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, these 4 are cool or these 2, and then we just go over and over, but like having 8 different little boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo. All those different little moments and movements, I think are, what make the song so groovy.
Yeah, it kind of helped transform from just drums and bass and guitar, from a live band kind of sound, to making it more of a beat kind of vibe.
Yeah, and so
Giving it that bounce.
dude, once we had the bones of that, then it was just literally like we sat down and we were just writing. We had this idea in mind, and I had the first line in my head. It was cool too watching the footage back because I had that first line in my head already. When it's like, oh, won't you open up the back door?
Yeah, like the initial idea just kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing really just flowed pretty effortlessly, but it's funny how after watching back that footage, it was like, oh man, the idea was just there from the start.
Yeah, truly. Then we really just fleshed out all the lyrics.
Yeah, and created the storyline.
Yeah, and it was fun because we were like stuck at certain moments, but then we got there, and now that we know obviously what the song is, it's fun to hear it back and be like, oh, we were almost there, we were getting there.
We were like watching the footage with anticipation, like, no, it's not it. Where's he? We found it. Yeah, we found it. That was funny.
Yeah, at first it was like, I'm not even gonna spoil it until the BTS comes out, but the last line that gave the song its title, it was reversed in the way that who it's about. Yeah. But yeah, man, this song is just so special, and then all the other cool elements of how we built it up. We did the double chorus the second time. How it builds and then goes back for the verse 2, and then it builds even more with the little falsetto, and then it comes back, and then boom, we have this cool little down
kind of bridge.
Yeah, I guess that technically could be the bridge.
Jam out bridge section, I guess.
And then we just end with just the immaculate sauce. This man cooking with that guitar solo. You let him know. Let him know, Nick.
That, you know?
Cause that was a lot of seasoning.
I mean, I know you were trying to get spicy on that track, so I had to bring some spice myself.
Hey man, well, it's greatly appreciated because you certainly did deliver, and it just feels good, man, to have a song that's so dynamic, so groovy, so jazzy. A lot of people have said that, like, when I played it for them, like, oh, like, this real jazzy.
Oh, that's cool.
Especially when like on the line, make good love until the sun comes up, like diving into that kind of lower register and the bounciness of like kind of that pitter patter, I think is pretty jazzy, and then we have especially like the piano.
Right, yeah, and it, like how it opens up on the chorus, kind of that Silk Sonic vibe, you know.
That was other influence that we were listening to as well. We're just big fans of Silk Sonic, and so. This was off the heels of Sal and I releasing Soul Synced, because we released that in August, and so we had spent a lot of time talking about that, talking about influences, other things, and man, it just beautifully came together in this track that now we have Lay It Down, that I feel like will be one that'll go down in history for as far as Djemini songs go. I was just telling Nick that I played it for another producer friend of ours last night. Shout out to Pliv. And he said that this is the best Djemini song that he's heard, and his favorite production of Nick's, which is really cool. And
it's cool hearing all this feedback on this song, and like
combining forces to make that happen. I feel like is just something that I remember too when Fly, Briggsy's manager, when I wasn't here for it, but you played it for Briggs and Fly.
Yeah.
And she texted me right away. She was like, "Yo, this song." She also said, like, this is like, this is my favorite song I've heard of yours, and blah blah blah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's just continued since we made it in the end of August, like up till now. We're recording this in December. It's really special to have gotten that feedback.
Yeah.
And I haven't got tired of it.
Same.
I love the song. I love the song for how many times. It was the first one we made together, technically. And I haven't gotten tired of it.
Right? Yeah, and it's like, you know, like we said, it's cool getting all this feedback, so I'm really excited for it to actually be released into the world.
Yeah, we're excited for all these songs to be yours. In particular, though, this song is a really special one that we can't wait for you to hear, and that's a perfect way to get into the next track. We got really in a groove in October.
Yeah.
We made Lay It Down in the end of August, and we kind of had that one marinating. September, I think we were both traveling, or I was traveling quite a bit that month, and then we weren't able to get together at all. So October, we were like, yo, let's lock in and let's finish these 4. And so we refined Lay It Down, and then I came back, and then we're like, cool, new song, new influences, and we grabbed the acoustic guitar and made this really cool thing for More Than Your Skin. And so, yeah, I'm curious to, like, in your memory, obviously we were just watching the footage a little bit, but what you remember of when we started that song and how that all came to light.
So I think that was fun because after Lay It Down, like you said, we were like, let's switch it up a little bit. And, you know, we kind of went more on that R&B vein. And instead of using the electric guitar, because that's our first weapon of choice, right? So we're like, okay, let's approach this from a different angle. And yeah, we got, I forget what the reference track was, but it was like upbeat.
Yeah.
So like trying to get an acoustic R&B riff with that upbeat, like fast tempo bounce, it was cool. Like, you know, we went through a couple ideas and then found the riff.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're like, okay, drums,
rap, yeah.
like a simple bass line.
Yeah.
And then the lyrics, I feel like just came right out.
That one, and it did because of your idea. After More Than Your Skin and all the songs that I had made with Jay, it was just a lot of, like, you know, smooth, sexy topics, which I love. And, you know, my parents raised me on, like, Usher and Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire and all these things where it's like that's kind of just baked into that. And then also growing up being such a huge Justin Timberlake fan, and a lot of people have said that the songs I made with Jay are, you know, serious early Justin Bieber journals vibes, which I love. It's one of my favorite projects. So I'm like, I will happily take that. Justin Bieber's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You're saying the wrong Justin.
No,
but
like, yeah, both of them. Both of them are huge influences. Yeah.
No, that makes sense though. Now that you say that.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really talk about that. We talked a lot about Timberlake though.
Right.
And so both Justins, huge influence on me.
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to a lot more Timberlake, and then as I got older and as Bieber got older, then I started listening to his music, and I'm a big fan of both.
Right.
But yeah, that was, a lot of people have said, like, with that kind of early 2000s R&B, that was what that Journals album really was.
Right.
And so people have been like, yo, you kind of sound like Bieber on this. And I'm like, I happily take that.
All right.
And then going into these sessions, we had a lot of JT going, and that was super cool because, like, the Djustified album, I have that CD and it is worn out because I was playing that in the house. It's sitting in my car currently. It skips all over the place because it's so worn out. But I love that record. I love Pharrell's production. I love the Neptunes in general. And obviously Timbaland and then early JT, man, is just something so special.
It's got that bounce.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we were going for on that track.
Exactly. And I think that we really accomplished that well. And then to go back to, like, what it's about, subject matter, it was so different. You know, we've got all these, again, smooth, sexy R&B songs. And we've had a lot of really great conversations just about, you know, like life and relationships and things like that. And you just asked me the question. You were just like, you know, man, why don't you talk about, like, what you actually want? And, like, seems like you want something more than, you know, just something that has substance in a relationship, and something like somebody who's, like, really knows you and is there for you and those kind of things. And, you know, all these things are cool. But at the end of the day, like, this is what you want. You should write about that. And instantly, I was like, all right, signed, sealed, delivered. Let's do it. And then we wrote that one real quick.
Yeah. No, I remember that moment because, you know, we were going through all these songs and writing stuff for Briggs. And, yeah, I don't know. I just remember, you know, a lot of R&B songs can be a similar lyric world, similar in the lyric world.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, like you said, we had a lot of good, deep conversations. And I remember you talking about like what kind of woman you would want in your life. And I'm like, bro, that's a great song topic. Like, I mean, everyone likes to hear the sexy stuff, sure, but there's more to life than just that too.
Exactly.
And it turned out pretty good on the song.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I think Subject Matter might be one of my favorite songs I've written because it feels really authentic to me and just like the experience that I'm currently going through what I'm, interested in.
Right.
And so it was cool to talk about that and switch that up. And then that opened the door for the next track, All or Nothing. That because now we're talking about
right into that one.
Exactly. Now we're talking about, and that's the cool thing with the arc of these four is that Coronation is this beautiful hypothetical, like what would happen if we got in a relationship, and then Lay It Down is like, okay, now we're in the relationship, but it's still new, it's still fresh, it's still like those early intimate moments and that kind of thing. And then More Than Your Skin is that stepping back moment of like, okay, that's cool, but I gotta let you know that this is also really what I want. And I do want more than your skin. I want these, these moments where we're just hanging out and spending time together and really getting to know each other. And that, I think, is so, like, the conversations that I'd like to have, but that are just while I'm, working, like I'm not having those kind of conversations, so channeling it into a song for, not that I'm gonna like sing that song to a girl, but like, when the moment comes, even just that topic being in my head, and knowing that I want to articulate it to some extent like that, I think was really cool. And I just appreciate you like planting that idea in my head and letting me ruminate on that, and then being able to then move on from that record and say, okay, how do we want to button these four up? And how do we want to end this arc of you met somebody and you're interested in them, now you're together with them, but you've established that you do want, something more. And then this is also kind of, it really, what it came down to is like, we had the idea of the all or nothing thing that came pretty quickly. It's like, why spend all your time, looking for this person or that person or playing games with me? If you could have all or nothing with me, like I don't know, just more the type of guy that I am. I'm kind of just like a lover that way. And
I think for me, just
not
like
shy about it.
Being old, like I resonate with that as well, because I have a serious relationship with Daria, and like I've been through all that.
Shout out to Daria.
And kind of went through, shout out Daria. And went through this kind of similar storyline in past relationships, and like I feel like that's an important part of life, and so do you. And it was cool to kind of incorporate that into the storyline of these songs.
Yeah, and I think that this one was really fun too, because it was a nice stamp, like ending on these four, with it being a little bit more of a four on the floor, kind of just dancey vibe,
dance kind of groove.
Yeah, it felt
pop, I guess.
Exactly, it felt good, and it felt like a perfect crossover that goes nicely into more stuff that we're working on throughout the year, with other producers and things like that have a little bit more of that pop fusion and some cool live elements we love. I'm excited to play these songs with the band.
Oh, and I can't wait to hear the rendition.
Oh my gosh.
Live.
Yeah, especially All or Nothing, because of how man, we chefed these drums, man.
Right, yeah, we really kind of wrote, especially this song, from the perspective of like how it would feel being played by real drums. And it's gonna be sweet as a live edition.
Yeah, I can't wait to really start working on it with the guys and just sharing with everybody, man. Is there anything else on that song? Like that song's pretty simple in terms of production and anything else that you want to mention?
I think it's funny to think about during the mixing session is when we brought in the idea of all the little ear candy.
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes.
Of like hidden little, like, not ad-libs, but like sound effects to accompany what you're talking about lyrically.
Yes.
And it's just like a bunch of funny little things that when you listen to it and it lines up with what you're saying in the song, just like adds a little pop of ear candy, I guess,
we went really overboard to start.
Oh yeah, we had like 30 ideas.
I think it's always better to just throw everything out on the table, and then you can handpick which ones you want to stay.
Yeah, pick all the best ones.
And exactly, and that's what was really fun about this one was that, I was just, with each of these songs, we did, one night where we pretty much made the song.
Yeah.
And then we went back and had 1 or 2 mixing sessions where we, went back to track a couple different things or redo this thing, add some harmonies. Yeah. And with this one, in my notes that I was doing, we pretty much I make notes for every song. We go and just check all of them off. And I just made all of these notes for different ideas for cool little ad-libs and sound effects. And the ones that ended up staying were, I think the most memorable one is I'm gonna take you back in time, that cool kind of futuristic whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Oh yeah, we spent like 5 or 10 minutes looking for a Back to the Future sound effect, I think.
We were trying really hard. and I was like, let's get a DeLorean sound.
Yeah.
And it did not work.
Couldn't find a DeLorean sound.
No, one that didn't sound stupid. Like the DeLorean is cool, but just in the context of the song, it just did not make any sense.
Work.
And so, that reminds me, we didn't talk about the Netflix sound on the on More Than Your Skin. That is a perfect break that I think that we did a really good job in all 4 of these songs of having these little moments of breaking the fourth wall, is what we called it.
Right.
Where
like how we're looking at the camera.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
talking directly to the
But for now, what movie you want to watch?
Yeah.
And then in
That moment was
Coronation,
so funny.
honestly, I don't think I could control myself.
Right.
Like, I wanted there to be all these moments that, again, it takes you out of the song just for a split second and lets you know more how I'm thinking and what I would say in real life, So I think, there's something really cool about that. And with this, it's such a fast song and it's snappy, so we didn't really have a moment to break that fourth wall per se. But I think through all these sound effects, it kind of gives it that very real feeling of, we're back in time. There's these whooshing sounds happening.
Was it something about looking good tonight? It was like whoop whoop.
Yeah, we got the little cat call whistle in there, and then we got like a sword sound effect. I can't even remember where that one goes off the top of my head. Hopping out the door, or something in the door every time I'm in the ride, take my hand. That's the one. You got me out here dressing nice, woo woo. So yeah, we incorporating
puts a little personality into it.
That's what we wanted, man. It's a fun song. It's a lighthearted song, and so that's where we wanted to go with it, was having this extra life. Those memorable little things that I'm a big fan of, giving people treats in the headphones.
Right.
And you might hear it, when you're listening in the car or listening in your regular speakers or anything like that. But when you wear headphones, I'm always big on having these moments that are really memorable that you may not notice until you've got them on your ears. And for these songs, I think that each one of them has really cool, memorable headphone moments.
Right.
And stuff that you may not notice on first listen or may not notice over regular speakers. And then as soon as you put them in your ears or over your ears, you're gonna hear these cool extra touches that just give extra life to each song. So man, All or Nothing is a really fun way to button those 4 up. And then obviously after that, we recorded Coronation in the way that it is now. That was the last one we recorded, but the first track that you'll hear. And I'm just so proud of it, man. I'm appreciative of you seeing the vision and just being such the mastermind of so many different styles and genres and bringing it all together to be able to match that energy on my end.
Appreciate it, man.
I have all these ideas that I want to bring, and I'm like, this is this kind of crazy thing, but because they think the same way, in a lot of how we make music, it's just able to flow so effortlessly because we both love so many different genres and all kinds of different music and artists, and so bringing it together in that is really cool. So I want to wrap this up by just giving a huge thank you to you, man, for again seeing the vision, believing in me, and having so much fun with me on this, because it truly was. You watch that footage back and it's like we're little kids. So I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you, man.
Hey, I appreciate you saying that, because it was just as fun for me. And like, you know, the blessing and the curse of having ADHD, you know, I can't pick a lane, but I have a lot of lanes. So like you coming in and like having all these ideas to, you know, play with genres like this, like it was right up my alley. And you're great to work with and very professional, and I respect the hell out of your work ethic.
Thank you.
So like, yeah, just it was a great combination of forces, this project. And like you said, we got so much done and worked so efficiently, but just had a blast the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, that's the goal, man.
Yeah.
Like,
truly.
Made good art and have a good time doing it. And the end result is gonna be a reflection of that.
Yeah, man.
And super stoked for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, excited for you too. The last thing I'll say is that a lot of the structure behind 5225 too came from conversations that we had.
Yeah, we do a lot of like scheming. And
a lot of scheming, a lot of business.
Yeah,
a lot of business talk. And I remember I think you're the first person, or maybe just between you and Sal, you guys were like the first two that I even mentioned this idea to, like back in August. When I first thought of it.
That's cool, man. Okay.
Yeah, it was like during that lay it down session, I was like, hey, there's like this loose idea that I have.
Yeah.
And then it very quickly, from once we made that song and we played that, you know, we played that for Jay, and that lay it down is the reason why Athena exists. Because
cool.
Jay heard that song and was like, this is what you should sound like. And he was like, we need to get back in the studio right now. So we literally, we were sitting in the car and I played him that song. We went right back up into his studio, and then we made the entire beat for Athena that like in an hour or two. And then I went home, wrote the whole song, came back literally the next day, and we tracked it. And now you've heard that already. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man, like after that gave me that confidence of what I think I could do.
Like, hey, I could keep pumping out songs. Like,
exactly.
I got to go for this project.
So then we started talking about it more, and you loved the idea, Sal loved the idea, and then I started sharing it with more of the guys who I wanted involved, and some other parties who you know see the vision with what I'm doing, and everybody was just like a resounding yes. And now here we are, freshly a week into announcing it as of recording this. It was a week ago that I posted the first video.
Right.
Today.
Yeah.
So
it's all happening.
It's all real now, and it's in motion, and it's been cool to connect with more producers who I've already been working with, and some who I haven't worked with that I'm excited to work with for this year of 13 producers, 4 songs each, a whole lot of music, and I know that there's gonna be a lot of other music that comes through this process that may not be part of 5225, but will certainly be part of what is coming next. And we've got a whole bunch of other plans and stuff that, you know, we're gonna do for my birthday. I'm gonna save those plans for, you know, another video.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, because we got something really cool we're gonna do this year for my birthday. And yeah, man, I'm so grateful for the conversations we had, how it's taken shape more and more every session that I've come over. The songs have become clearer and better and more refined, and the idea for this whole rollout and all the content and all the strategy behind it is all become clearer because of these conversations as well. So once again, man, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this beautiful place that we're in right now, the Bunker. If you haven't seen the studio tour for the Bunker, it is something that if it's out by the time you're seeing this, it'll be linked below. If not, stay tuned on
See you there.
Nick's Instagrams, Proud by Nick Bernyk, or the Bunker Recording Studio. And yeah, we had such a fun time shooting that together, because I really wanted to showcase this amazing space that we've spent a lot of time in together, that I feel grateful to be the recipient of how much of a vibe this is, and how having you at the helm here has just been a treat, man. So yeah, grateful for this place, grateful for you, you know, helping to lead the way, and you know, once again, excited for all of you to hear these 4 songs and a lot more songs that come from the Bunker, come from us too, and come from other people we're going to continue to collaborate with. So that's it for me. Anything else you wanna say before we wrap here?
I don't think so. I think you covered everything, and
Perfect, man.
Yeah, I'm just stoked that I was along for the ride on this project, and really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too, man. Well, that is it for episode 2 of the 5225 podcast. My name is Djemini.
I'm Nick.
And thanks so much. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.